Hi and welcome back to my channel today. Today we're going to be looking at filicides. As I said, I'm actually going to do a series on filicides. Now those who do not know what a filicide is somebody who kills their own child.
Darcey Freeman.
So Darcey's parents met in 1998. It was quite a quick romance as they were married on New Year's Eve 1999. In the year 2000 they decided to move to the UK and stayed for 6 years, and in this time they started their family and had their 3 children. It was when they moved back to Australia in 2006 that Arthur started having his frequent mood swings and his anger management issues. So by 2007 they had actually separated, and by 2008 the divorce had gone through. So the pair ended up divorcing in 2008, but in 2009 the custody battles were still going on. They had only just gone to court on the 27th, which was 2 days before the tragic day, to do with the custody of the children. Darcey's mother had applied for an order adjustment, as they had been sharing custody of the children equally. So the tragic day started out on the 29th of January 2009. Melbourne was going through a massive heat wave at that stage. It had not been that hot since 1936. Temperatures had not gone under 28.7 overnight, and by 8 o'clock that morning it was actually already 34 degrees. So when I actually heard on the morning news that there'd been a child thrown from the Westgate Bridge, I actually had sympathy for this dad. I myself at the time was pregnant and I had a 2-year-old who hadn't slept for 2 nights, was irritated and crabby like children get when they are uncomfortable and hot. And I thought, this poor dad, he's been taking his kids to school, you're in a traffic jam in Melbourne, and if you've ever been in Melbourne in a traffic jam in the heat, it is horrendous. So I was thinking, he's had one of those moments like as a parent we can all say we've had, where you lose your crap, but then you pull yourself back together before it gets too bad. And I thought, no, he's lost it. He's literally pulled up the car. She's obviously the one screaming, because why has he not done nothing with these other 2 children? And got her out of the car to sit her down beside the car to get her out of the hot car to cool her down, and he's just lost it and thrown her over the side. So that was my immediate thought, and I actually felt really, really sorry for that dad. Now this is a big ass bridge, 10 lanes across. It's the vital link between the western suburbs of Melbourne and the CBD, and with the industrial suburbs in the west, and with Geelong being only 80 kilometres to the southwest, this bridge is one of the busiest roads in Australia. And by 9 AM on a Thursday morning, a lot of people witnessed poor little Darcey being thrown from the bridge. So with this being Darcey's first day of kindergarten, Mum had arranged to meet Arthur and the boys and Darcey at the school, just so that she could take that first day photo of school, make sure Darcey's hair's done properly, just being a normal mum, making sure that everything's done properly. So by 5 to 9, when she had not heard or they had arrived at the school, she called Arthur. It was at this point that Arthur said to her, "You need to say goodbye to the children, you will never see them again," and hung up. Now Peter Barnes, Darcey's mother, being at the school already, went straight to the principal's office and told what had just been said to her. So they rang the police and she rang her solicitors. She reported the children as missing and telling the police that the children's lives had been threatened. She returned home to get photos of the children, but by this time little Darcey had already been thrown from the bridge. So Arthur Freeman had been driving back from his parents' beach house that morning. He'd taken the children there the night before to escape the Melbourne heat. But coming back that morning, it was already hot and the traffic was slow. But by the time he got to the Westgate Bridge at around 9 o'clock, he pulled over his white Land Cruiser to the left lane, He calmly got out of his vehicle, went to the back of the car, opened up the back door, leant over one of his sons to then unbuckle Darcey's car seat, lift her out, take her to the side of the bridge, and he just let go. He just let go of his daughter. Now, the water police were the first there. They dragged little Darcey from the water in a critical condition, and she was taken to the Royal Children's Hospital. Now, if you've ever seen the size of the Westgate Bridge, it's 190 feet drop. How this poor little girl survived this drop, I'll never know. She must have been a little fighter. So by this stage, there's a massive manhunt underway for the police, fearing that they will be coming across another tragic scene. But at 10:30, police were called to the Commonwealth Law Courts. This building is in the city of Melbourne. This building houses Family Law Court and the Federal Magistrates Court, which is also to do with the family law. The security staff that had noticed a man with his two children in the foyer crying and shaking uncontrollably. He was shaking uncontrollably. Oh my goodness, it makes me so angry. When the security guards approached him, he begged them to take his boys, but they were having trouble hearing him because he was having trouble talking. So the eldest son had to explain what had happened and his parents' names. When police arrived, they arrested Freeman and placed him in handcuffs. Family friends were rang to pick up the two boys, and Darcey's mum was rushed to the hospital to see her daughter, but that was too late. Sadly, Darcey had already passed away at 1:35 p.m. Freeman ended up getting 32 years non-parole period, so he will not see the light of day of our streets for at least until he's 75. Let's hope he dies long before that. Now, you would think that killing your own child would be a very rare thing, but it's more common than what you actually think. In the US alone, there is 500 children killed a year by a parent. Statistics show that 90% of them are biological parents and only 10% are step-parents. Here in Australia, they say around 25 children are killed a year by their own parents. But since doing this video, the research for this video, which took me a week and a half, there have already been 4 children in Australia killed in that time by their own parents. Let's have a look at some of the ugly faces of people that have killed their own children. Thanks for joining me this week, and I hope you'll be back next week to see my next case. Hope you have a good week. Bye.